right, here we are with Jack Booth, co-founder of Ton Society. Jack, it's so great to have you on the Defiant podcast. Welcome.
Hey, Camilla. Very great to be here. I've been a long-time fan and follower of all your good work, so very, very happy and proud to be in the same room as you.
No, don't say that. So thank you so much for the kind words. And yeah, no, I'm the one who's happy and honored to have you on the podcast. I've been wanting to have someone from Ton for a long time. We've been obviously covering the incredible rise of Ton blockchain and everything related to Ton in the past few months. Like it's really been, at least like it kind of came out of nowhere for me at least. So would super interested to kind of dive into that. But let's, start from the beginning. Obviously, Ton very closely related to Telegram, the messaging app that everyone in crypto uses. But I know that it's not exactly the same. And I'd also love to for you to explain the differences between the Telegram app and its relationship with the Ton blockchain. You are part of Ton Society, which I believe is different from Ton Foundation. So if we can just go over kind of the basics of the Ton ecosystem to start.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. I guess it's just like every decentralized ecosystem. There's lots of different players that play different roles in how things are being developed and how things are happening in the ecosystem. But essentially, Telegram is, to back up a little bit, back in September, actually, last year, during Token 2049, Ton Foundation kind of announced this Web3 in Telegram vision. And the vision was that you weren't going to build kind of complicated DeFi applications, but we were going to build applications using Telegram's open mini apps platform, which is available to any third party, be it blockchain or otherwise. And we were going to build simple crypto applications that bring Web3 features to all the spaces online that people spend the most time, right? So gaming, shopping, and entertainment, right? Those three areas pretty much make up the majority of what a mass audience would be spending their time doing online. Right, most people are not going to start in crypto by making extremely complicated financial transactions and playing with DeFi protocols. Right, only some of us crazy degens do that. So we needed to broaden out the kind of types of apps that were being built, and we saw Telegram mini apps as being a perfect platform to put the front end of a crypto application, right? Just like Google Chrome is the front end to most of Web3, right? Because you use a Google Chrome extension. The Telegram mini apps are the front end to the the Ton ecosystem. So basically that's the major difference. And during that announcement, this is when we kind of kicked off the first major integration of Ton and Telegram, which was the Ton Space, which is a self-custodial wallet inside of Telegram. So now for the first time at that point, you could actually connect a wallet and authorize a transaction within a Telegram mini app. And so this was the first real integration of Ton and Telegram. And it was brought about by Ton Foundation in collaboration with Telegram in order to bring this kind of Web3 ecosystem vision to life and kick it off. And since then, we've seen, as you said, like just incredible growth.
In kind of the earliest days of the like Telegram or Ton blockchain, though, it did start within Telegram, but then I believe there were regulatory concerns, I think, after an ICO or a token. And then that was spun off, right?
Yeah. So Telegram was Telegram's founders, Nikolai Durov actually was the creator of the Ton white paper. And so they wrote all of the tech for Ton. And back then it was called the Telegram Open Network. But what happened was they did an ICO and at the time got sued by the SEC. And so they had to give back all the money in the ICO and basically swear that they weren't going to use Ton at all. And so instead of just like canning the technology, they just handed it over to the open source community. They actually ran a contest to see who was going to get all of like the main assets, like the ton.org website, like the access to the GitHubs, and 2 developers won it, and those guys were the initial creators of Ton as it is today, which got renamed as the Open Network instead of Telegram Open Network. So actually it's a totally different blockchain from what it was back in those days. It wasn't even on mainnet at that time. There was no mainnet. It was just a testnet. The token, the blockchain token itself wasn't actually called Toncoin. It was called Grams, and it was just a testnet token. And so, and actually the blockchain wasn't in a usable state, right? So those 2 guys, the developers, have made up the Ton core team, and the Ton core team are a separate branch of this ecosystem of decentralized businesses that work on the blockchain. And they are really responsible for the ongoing development, even now today.
And that was that kind of turnover to these developers. That was 2018?
Yes, I think early 2019.
Okay, early 2019. And then, so they've been independently developing the open network. And then it was at Token 2049 last year when it was announced that that Telegram messaging app would include Ton wallet. Is that kind of how that link happened?
Yeah, obviously there was a lot that happened in between, like Telegram starting to work with Ton again, and that moment where all of the code was passed over to these open source developers. They had to develop some initial traction. They had to develop some initial theory to even get Telegram involved, because obviously Telegram didn't want to get burned by the fire again. Actually, now today we still don't. No Ton projects really serve US users, and so we don't do any marketing in the US. We don't do anything really in the US. The wallet in Telegram is banned, is geo-blocked in the US. So we're still very careful, or the ecosystem is still very careful about how it interacts with the US. But who knows what's going to happen after this election, right? Everything could change, and the whole market could be in a different state as of like end of November, right? So obviously US is a massive market for crypto. It's a market where Ton would really like to be spending a lot of time, but now at the moment we don't do anything.
It was still, I guess, a risk to decide to include the open network to Telegram, given the history with the SEC, even geo-blocking, because we've seen some dApps that have geo-blocked still run into problem with regulations. But I guess, like, what was the outlook there? It's like, okay, the potential to reach users outside of the US with crypto was greater than the risk of like maybe getting into trouble in the US. And like you said, maybe down the line the US comes around and it becomes more regulatory friendly.
Well, Telegram, as shown by Pavel Durov's kind of speech at Token 2049 in Dubai this year, when they announced the partnership with Tether, has always seen blockchain as a technology of freedom. And the great thing about that partnership, especially with Tether, is that Telegram actually accesses a user base which is incredibly emerging market, which actually they can't get access to from other platforms. right? The people that actually need and use crypto on a daily basis are actually very well served by Telegram's user base. So I think the strategy was let's build useful applications inside of Telegram for the emerging market, and if the US comes around, that's great, and then we can move in there. But the real mass audience use case that is there on Ton right this very second is wallet and Telegram for the rest of the world. Every country outside, or most countries apart from sanctioned countries outside of the US, can send USDT in DMs in Telegram, can send Toncoin, can send Bitcoin, can send Notcoin in DMs in Telegram for free and instantly. Right? This is it's an incredible use case, which I don't think really is really recognized that much in how big it is. Like the USDT circulation has grown to over 1 billion on Ton, and some days are over 300, 400 million daily transaction volume of USDT going through those methods, right? Sending
per day
money through DMs to people. Yeah, per day.
Wow.
Yeah. So
no, that is huge.
the volume is so interestingly in August. I haven't checked the numbers for September, but in August the total transaction volume of USDT on Ton was 7.3 billion. So if you look at like comparable fintech tools like Kakao Pay in Korea, and I know this because I was in Korea for Blockchain Week a couple of weeks ago. But Kakao Pay's average monthly transfer volume is 7.2 billion. Sorry. So in 4 months, Ton is beating what is one of Asia's biggest fintech platforms, just 4 months after USDT launch on the platform. So it's an incredible achievement, and it's incredible usage, and it's happening on Ton, and it's just a massive innovation in the UX of sending money across borders, across the world, and sending crypto.
Yeah, and all of that is happening even without the US market. I wish, I mean, I'm based in New York. I really wish I could see kind of all of that in action.
Have you never used the wallet? I guess you've never seen it then.
No, I haven't seen it. I mean, I use Telegram every day, but
okay.
I haven't used like the crypto part of it, unfortunately. But let's get into activity on Ton in a little bit. I still want to get like clarity on the ecosystem first. So we've gone over the relationship between like Telegram messaging app and the open network. What about Ton Society and Ton Foundation? Like, what roles do they play?
Yeah, so Ton Society was initially a community initiative within the Ton Foundation. It was one that I was working on very closely. I was the ex-CMO at Ton Foundation, so used to be part of the team. And what it is like it's a global grassroots network of events hubs. We have 9 hubs around the world. We have them across Asia, Europe, mainly, and we're expanding into Africa and Latin America over the next few months. And we run at least 2 events in each hub in these local cities. And so we've worked it out. We've done 250 events so far this year. This is almost an event a day that we've run through Ton Society. And so you can imagine the size of the operation that we built up, the size of how much is going on with all of that activity. So it's really a grassroots engagement strategy for getting community involved in the ecosystem, getting them excited to build new projects, helping them to see the opportunities that are there on Ton and Telegram. And then we kind of realized like we also wanted to give the community more access to all of the other assets that are super valuable within the ecosystem. So it's all the community channels, we have 20 million across all of the kind of official Ton community channels, Toncoin and Telegram, Ton Blockchain, Twitter, all of our Ton Society accounts. We have that across 19 different languages as well, all of these community channels. So we want to give more projects and community access to publish in these places. And so it really just it became clear that we wanted to work separately to Ton Foundation and work to help to centralize the ecosystem by becoming more of a representative voice for Ton community. And we couldn't do that inside the foundation. So we decided to spin it off. And now I've founded it with my co-founder, Ekin, who was the director of growth at Ton Foundation before. So yeah, we're kind of the community operation and arm of Ton. And it's super early days. We're only about a month in now. So we've got a massive hackathon coming up.
Oh, wow. Well, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. It's a huge change, but it's super exciting, and we're working on some really cool stuff. Events, great live streams, great Twitter Spaces, great talks, great stories, and we really see ourselves as almost like an ecosystem journalist, right? We want to become a journalist for Ton ecosystem. Because what's happening is there's so many stories bubbling up from the ecosystem, and we want to be the ones to tell those stories, bring the founders out, give them a platform to reach the community as best as possible.
Interesting. Super cool. Okay, and then on still a bit kind of double clicking on the open network itself, I want to understand better how the actual blockchain works. Is it what kind of consensus mechanism does it have? How many nodes? How is the actual blockchain set up?
So you're going to go right over my head here because I'm not the most technical.
No, I'm not technical either, but just to get the basics.
Okay, so the basics are it's a dynamic sharding model. So essentially, when the blockchain gets under a high load, it splits into multiple shards, and that means that it can kind of horizontally scale instead of what some other blockchains are doing, trying to vertically scale through an additional L2, right? And then when the load goes away, the blockchain dynamically collapses the shards. Which makes it very, very highly scalable. We've obviously seen that during the Hamster Combat launch just last week. We actually got to, I think it was 17 shards in working live on the blockchain. And I don't know what it is right now, but it's certainly gone down. Yeah, so now we're back down to 13. So there's still massive amounts of load on the chain because of the Hamster Combat launch, still ongoing. So that's basically my understanding of how it works. And as I say, I've always been a marketing guy, not a technical one. So hopefully that's a good explanation.
I think it's helpful in understanding kind of what makes Ton different from other blockchains and what allows it to scale to the mass market of millions of users that you have.
Exactly, and that's what the whole reasoning. The sharding was in the white paper as the core way to scale, even in the original days that the Durov brothers wrote the white paper. And it was always seen as a difficult. I mean, in the Ethereum world, as you probably know too well. You basically wrote the book on it, right? So the Ethereum world kind of gave up on sharding because it was supposedly too complex. But actually, the model that these core devs and the core dev team now have worked on and come up with works. It's now getting stress tested almost every week. We have had issues. The first issues we had an inscriptions craze back in December 2023, and that actually slowed down the blockchain to almost unusable for a few hours. It was due to the kind of validator nodes not having upgradable hardware, so their hardware didn't actually scale. And so we run into like hardware issues on the scaling front instead of it wasn't really necessarily the software issues. It was more like the hardware wasn't prepped for a massive increase in traffic and load. And then the devs worked hard on shipping new updates for that to make sure that even with lower level hardware, it wouldn't cause that. Also, the validator nodes were alerted that you need to be at least kind of have some upgradability to the hardware. And then we've had another stress test during Dog's token launch, which was it's what it is, the biggest airdrop I've ever heard about. It was over 17 million people received this token, and it was a massive load on the blockchain, and it actually caused two outages of the blockchain, the first time that's ever happened. And essentially, again, it was hardware issues on the nodes. They weren't ready to scale, and they weren't ready for the extra traffic. And there were patches shipped very, very quickly, and then the blockchain was back within 4 hours. So we count ourselves as one of those really we count ourselves an esteemed company of blockchains that have run into outages because of too much usage, right? Like that's a small club of blockchains, and it's great that we've got the core dev guys that really know this stuff and are ready to jump in and sort it out whenever these happen. And obviously it's working well now with Hamster being the biggest launcher ever, and we haven't had any outages so far. It's still ongoing, but the signs are good.
Cool. Okay, so interesting to hear that these outages and slowing down have been hardware problems. So on, I guess like last bit of like technical questions, but wondering about how like decentralized and permissionless the blockchain is. Like, can anyone become a node? And do you have an idea of like roughly how many nodes are running the chain?
So we have, I think, around about 377 nodes on the chain at the minute. And yes, anyone can become a node. You do need a kind of significant chunk of Toncoin. In order to become a fully functioning node. But yes, anyone can indeed start a node and get it going.
Cool. And then I guess like similar to Ethereum and other like proof of stake chains, node operators are rewarded by a portion of transaction fees as well?
Yeah, so node operators are rewarded with the transaction fees, but 50% of the transaction fees are actually burned. So that was actually a community that was enacted in a community vote. So actually, the more usage that Tom blockchain has, there is a potential that it can become deflationary over time instead of inflationary because of that mechanism.
Interesting. Okay, similar to Ethereum as well. Has it ever become close to becoming deflationary, or has it been deflationary in the past?
It hasn't yet. No, we've been actually watching that very closely to see how much usage is going to be needed in order to make it deflationary. And it has. I don't think we have actually become close yet. So still a lot further to go in onboarding millions of people on chain before we become deflationary. But will be an interesting moment when it happens.
Protocol 20 introduces Sorbonne, which is Stellar's cutting-edge smart contracts platform. This creates new surface area for innovation and provides new opportunities for developers to build protocols and products that create access to everyday financial services. So it means a gradual increase in transaction capacity and a chance to fine-tune applications. And it's the most transformative upgrade to the Stellar network to date. Woohoo!
In terms of, so we've established kind of the roles of different pieces of the Ton ecosystem. Now, I guess like the big elephant in the room that I also want to talk about is Pavel Durov, obviously, Telegram's co-founder, who has been arrested. The Ton coin plunged when this happened. So there's this, I guess, perception that he has, a direct implication on how the blockchain and the coin will develop. So yeah, I'd love kind of more clarity on his role specifically in the ecosystem.
Yeah, so obviously it was a huge shock to the whole ecosystem when Pavel was arrested. Pretty crazy charges. We believe like to be complicit in all of the kind of illegal activity that happens on the platform, and to be charged criminally for that is a pretty crazy case.
I agree,
and many French lawyers and the stuff have been very, very vocal with against those particular charges, right? So pretty unheard of situation, and it comes, under the backdrop of all of this, like really a kind of crackdown on freedom of speech across the globe, right? You've had in the UK, you've had all of these riots that then led to the UK government like putting people into jail because of memes that they've posted about immigration on Twitter. People have gone to jail for that, right? And it's absolutely mental. But yeah, the impact on the ecosystem is an interesting one, because we didn't know there hasn't necessarily been too much negative news about Telegram, so we didn't know ton guys like, if something like that were to happen, what the impact would be. So it is interesting that people are seeing us still so tied in with Telegram. But when you think about it, that we're just using Telegram's mini apps platform to be the front end for all of the applications on Ton, for some majority of the applications on Ton. And so if that front end, even if that was to go away in like the most craziest of circumstances, the front end would just move to like Google Chrome, right? So the impact of Telegram is really just it's the virality mechanisms of being able to share apps very easily inside of Telegram that we would lose, and two, it's the social graph of Telegram, right? Because everyone in crypto is already using the platform. So it makes it much easier to grow crypto applications because people are just more ready to use. So, long roundabout way of saying that Telegram's a very important part of the ecosystem. Pavel Durov, as a founder of Telegram itself, is also an important figure. He's only showed up for us once. and we never I've never spoken to him. None of the foundation team have ever spoken to him. Only like the top board guys have ever spoken to Pavel, and he's only shown up for us once when they did the presentation with Tether at Token 2049. So he's not at all involved in anything that we're doing. Our ecosystem, as can be seen with spinning off Ton Society from Ton Foundation, is becoming more and more decentralized over time. We're on the pathway to that, and it's something that actually Ton Society will look to spend more time doing. Is like, how do we actually find the community's opinion about things? And actually, during the Pavel arrest, we issued a statement, and we created a Telegram mini app for that statement. And it was you could go into the mini app, you could sign this open letter to free Pavel Durov. And I've checked it today. We've got 8.5 million signatures in that mini app. Majority of them, 6 million, I think, were captured within the first 7 days that we created that mini app. We did it in about 1 day, built the whole mini app. and launched it, and it's stunning numbers, right? 8.5 million people signed that open letter, and because of the noise that Ton community was making, actually we got a response from Emmanuel Macron. He even came out and said, many people are complaining to me that this is a political arrest, when in fact it is not. We can go into the details of whether or not it was a political arrest, but the fact that Emmanuel Macron had to respond to our community pressure that we're putting onto him on X is a pretty proud moment for me, because that was 3 days after we launched on Society that this all happened. And then we built this mini app, grew to 8.5 million signatures. And it really just shows the power of Telegram as a political movement tool set, right? I think this is why they're frightened of it, is because really in Telegram with announcement channel, you're not algorithmically censored, right? You can't be censored algorithmically. Like you can't, if someone follows you, the platform can censor your reach, right? On Twitter, on Facebook, on all of these other, on YouTube, your reach can be censored. So even if someone follows you, they may not see your post. In Telegram, that's totally different. If you follow some channel in Telegram, you see every single post, and you can discuss every single post in the discussion group. And so this is where you can really organize movements very easily inside of Telegram. And we found that with this open letter, and it was super interesting to see the impact. We had Elon Musk commenting on free Durov, Edward Snowden, Vitalik even chimed in, loads of people. So it actually was a great moment where the community came together, and we saw that actually we can be powerful when we all come together for something like this.
So interesting, and I'd love to deep dive on Telegram and Ton as a political tool, and also get your thoughts on why Durov's arrest was or wasn't politically motivated. But before that, I was just to get kind of wrap up the kind of Pavel's direct impact or like Telegram's direct impact on Ton. I understand from what you're saying that the market perceived the risk of Pavel being arrested as there's a risk to Telegram, the messaging app, and because the messaging app is so important to Ton as a front end, then the kind of small risk, but risk even of something happening to the Telegram app is what impacted the Ton price and what people see might be risky for the Telegram blockchain. Not necessarily kind of that Pavel was like directly involved in running things day to day at Ton, but just like how losing the Telegram messaging app, how that might impact the Ton blockchain.
Yeah, I think it's in two ways. It's like literally, if Telegram were to not exist, which is just it's kind of impossible of an eventuality, but also conceptually, if Telegram were to like hand over the encryption keys to the government, entirely, the kind of concept of Telegram is then threatened, right? Because it's meant to be a free speech platform. And so if people believe that the government is listening to everything, and they've kind of got a backdoor key that gives them access to all the chats that they can just run through algorithmically and easily find and curtail speech that's not illegal but politically motivated, right? Then that would be an issue. I actually think that what Telegram is doing right now, and what Pavel's announced they're doing, is they're ramping up censorship from themselves, and they're ramping up moderation themselves. And I think this is in an effort to avoid ever having to give away a backdoor key to the government. I think that's probably what France may have wanted. And this is pure just speculation on my part. So, but this is my opinion. I think what they wanted some kind of information, and in order to get that, they kind of applied pressure onto Pavel to say, you must give us the keys. And Pavel, I believe, would have said no. Just going back to his history, that's what kind of that's happened in the past with the Russian government, obviously, who tried to get access to Telegram, and which ended up leading to him moving the company from Russia to Dubai entirely and leaving Russia, like leaving his homeland. And so he's always been a very defiant person, to use your word, right? He's been a defiant human being that's always strived for freedom in the world, and he doesn't want to give away the keys to willy-nilly to any government that wants access. But he will do is listen to the feedback and say, hey, look, okay, if there is illegal activity happening on the platform, which obviously there is, we're going to try our absolute hardest to stop that. And we're ramping up censorship, we're ramping up the moderation, but that doesn't in any way mean that we are giving free access to governments to come in, listen to your conversations, and take actions against you.
Yeah, no, that's super reasonable. Okay, and then on the other topic that you mentioned, so interested to hear your opinions on whether the arrest was politically motivated. I guess like that's what you were alluding to, kind of the French government wanting some sort of access to information, right?
Yeah, well, you just look at the charges, and like for Pavel to be arrested based on crimes that happen on an open and free platform. It's free to use Telegram, right? It's free to send messages on Telegram. So for Pavel to be held accountable, criminally accountable for crimes that happen on a free and open platform, it's kind of similar to like if you were to hold the car manufacturers because of crimes committed in cars, right?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
It's that ridiculous. And so it can't have been like the charges can't really have been, I believe, like to have any legal standing. And I'm not a lawyer, and I can't really comment on the legal standing of it. But there are some lawyers that have commented saying, from a legal point of view, Durov is not involved in the storage of child pornography, drug trafficking, or terrorism. There is no legal basis for these charges. So in that way, it must be political, right? It has to have been because they wanted something particular. And France is in this kind of strange period in its time where Macron didn't kind of accept the result of the election. They've had all of these riots going on in France. They've had all of this protest going on in France. And so you can kind of understand that under the backdrop of all that, there may have been like things that they've wanted to get a hold of, and Telegram may have been the main messaging platform that's being used to actually get access or bring people together to riot and to protest.
And that leads nicely into kind of the other theme you mentioned, which is Telegram as a political tool itself. I'd love for you to kind of talk more about that.
Yeah, I think this is the reason why governments are scared of Telegram, because it's not the end-to-end encryption, right? It's not like Telegram channels are not end-to-end encrypted. They are stored on Telegram servers, right? So unless you create a secret end-to-end encrypted chat, which you can do, it's not end-to-end encrypted, So but the way Telegram is structured the actual structure of it is actually what I believe is the most powerful part of it. The channels, the announcement channels, which are devoid of any algorithmic censorship. You can't censor the reach of someone if they follow your channel. That allows anyone, be it a political activist to a new new party, a new political party, or anyone basically, to create a channel, build an audience, and broadcast to hundreds of thousands of people immediately, instantly, and get immediate feedback, immediate discussion going on whatever message they send there, right? So it really can be used politically as a news source, right? And that's how we're seeing Telegram's usage be evolved much more. That's how we're using it in Ton at the Toncoin channel. So the Toncoin channel, we have 10 million subscribers in there now, and we have posts go out about Ton projects, Ton things that are going on in Ton ecosystem every single day, and discussion breaks out about each different thing. And if that was to be turned into and with the Ton Society example, that turned into a movement of people that were changing their profile pictures to the resistance dog, the meme coin, across social media. It turned into people adding hashtag free Durov to all French media posts and French political politician posts. It turned into a massive movement of people taking some kinds of actions. That people were graffitiing the resistance dog across Paris, right? And this all happened organically because of this announcement. These announcements that were happening in Telegram and the coordination of the chat groups in Telegram. So it's a powerful tool for building movements, and really making things very viral, because the sharing features are also very good, right? So easy just to forward on a message from one channel to all of your contacts if you so wanted. You can do that, or just pick the ones that are most important, right? And so the sharing features are incredibly good as well, because then as soon as you get that post through from a trusted source, your friend or whatever, you're then in the channel, and then you're like, okay, now I really like what this channel's doing, and you're following it, and then once you're in. So I think this is the reason why actually it's a very powerful tool for political means, and this is why the governments are kind of maybe scared of it.
Hey everyone, I'm Ilya, and I'm inviting everyone to Bangkok, November 9 to 11.
You've been duped into thinking anything decentralized was ever gonna work. There's a better way. Stop wasting your time with all this blockchain and go back to the norm. Get a latte and stop trying to change the world. Oh, and this thing in November, redacted, the hackathon, they're cushy office jobs out there, Everything is working as it should.
For our special event, Redacted. We're gonna dive into AI, we're gonna dive into Web3, chain abstraction, decentralization, and user-owned AI. I'll see you there.
I think this is fascinating, but in the end, and the aspect that it's not censorable by an algorithm, I think that's so interesting and important to point out. But still, in the end, it is a private company that's centralized, that if leadership decided to censor or to shut down different chats, they could do it. I think it's very unlikely that they will, but I think there's still kind of the point is that there's the ability for Telegram leadership to change things in the app, which is obviously different from the open network, which is decentralized on a blockchain, and you can't have any leadership change things there. So in what way can kind of the open network impact this sort of impact this I guess like shortcoming of Telegram in that way, in that it can still be censored in the end. Like all these chats and movements and whatever is created there is in the end like subject to whatever like its leadership wants. But I don't know if there's a way that the open network could just leverage the fact that it's decentralized but still has access to Telegram's user base to maybe, I don't know, port some of these kind of like messaging abilities, but make them decentralized.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's not something that we're considering at all now, in terms of like moving away from Telegram, because we still believe the majority of new users to crypto are going to be onboarded through Telegram. So it's the only place really where you can get massive distribution of a crypto project, right? You can't get it anywhere else. You can't Facebook ads a crypto project. You can't Instagram ads. You can't reach a ton of users. This is why, PR is so important in crypto, is because in order to reach a massive audience, you need to get the message out there. And really PR is like probably PR and influencers in crypto is the one way to grow your project. Well, in Telegram, it's totally different. You're getting free traffic in Telegram by building clever incentive mechanisms and clever viral mechanics into your app. And that's why we've seen such massive success of these Telegram mini apps like Hamster Combat, Notcoin, Dogs, Catizen, What Bird, from Gamey. Like all of these apps have found a formula which includes viral mechanics and incentives mechanisms, and none of them require anything to get started. You don't need a wallet. You don't need to top up a fund and exchange account. You don't need to figure out what a Google Chrome extension is. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You just get started using a Web3 application and earning points, and then they transfer into assets later down the line. At varying degrees of success. Some projects have pissed people off. Some projects have made people very happy so far, right? It's kind of half and half at this point in time. But yeah, that the majority of people, we believe, are going to be onboarded via these mechanics in Telegram, and we believe Telegram can become a global Web3 super app, where all of the services that you would possibly need globally would be available as mini apps in Telegram, and you'd be able to pay in Ton, you'd be able to pay in Notcoin, you'd be able to use these apps that are essentially crypto apps, but feel just like Web2 experiences. We call it Web 2.5, right? It's like in the middle of Web3 and Web 2, just adding Web3 features, payments to the applications that we all know and love, but may not be like available globally for whatever reason.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, Telegram's power is it's the massive number of users and the ability to reach a mass audience with crypto. And I think, for like just radically decentralized and permissionless use cases, there will be other ways and other blockchains. But I think kind of this middle ground is, it's where Ton and Telegram can thrive for sure.
Exactly. And we kind of see ourselves as the gateway to crypto for these mass audiences. We're not going to gatekeep these users, right? We want these users to go into go deeper into crypto after they get started. But we're in a position in crypto where we're focused so much on the DeFi native, the degens, right? Because they've got all the money, and we're so obsessed with liquidity, and we're so obsessed with like filling our our buckets with locked value, right? That's really like what we're catering for. But really, the majority of the world does not spend their time making financial transactions, making investment decisions 4 or 5 times a day, right? So we've got to have a middle ground which introduces people to crypto in easy, seamless ways that's fun and rewarding, and directs people like further down the line, right? I think that's what we're building, is crypto's onboarding machine, and every project in crypto can benefit from this. Circumstantial evidence has shown me, like that Bybit CEO came out with an interview from Wu Blockchain a couple of days ago. He said that Ton is the only ecosystem that's bringing in new users to crypto. We've actually onboarded 1 million new users onto Bybit, 400 to 500K of those paying users, right, depositing into Bybit because of the launches on Ton. And then circumstantial evidence as well has said that Binance has found similar results. So over 1 million plus new users coming to Binance. So if that's Binance saying that they've got 1 million new users because of Ton projects, and Binance is the biggest exchange on the planet, then it's clear that we're doing the right job. Our job is working. We're onboarding net new people to the space. So many people are saying, like, where's the retail? Where's the retail? Well, they're not using DeFi protocols anymore because it's too risky and dangerous. They'd rather just play simple games and potentially get an airdrop later down the line. And that's the first iteration of what the Telegram mini apps ecosystem is right now. But there's much more meaty, high utility apps coming later down the line. Like Tadar in Token 2049 Singapore, they launched their Telegram mini app, which means that you could order a taxi in Singapore and actually get a taxi. I arrived to Singapore, ordered the taxi on Tadar, paid with Ton. It was half price, so I paid about 1 Ton to get from Singapore airport into the city. And it was perfect experience. Nice. It was beautiful to be able to do that. So there's new mini apps happening all the time, and we believe that the viral simple mini apps will lead to users coming and using the more high utility mini apps. That will lead to them wanting to explore, after they're more comfortable with crypto, the more degenerate stuff.
Makes sense.
Right.
So super interesting to hear that, users of crypto in Telegram are actually transitioning into, centralized exchanges and just becoming just full on, crypto holders and users. And then on kind of like how Telegram is being used today versus how you see its place in, the future blockchain ecosystem. If we can just like get an overview of what that activity looks like today. So you've mentioned lots of airdrops, games, but you also mentioned a huge payment volume. So yeah, just like what are the main use cases and apps that are seeing lots of activity now?
So we have this trend that many people may have heard of. It's tap to earn. Tap to earn apps are these kinds of games where you just go on, you're tapping something, or you're playing the game, and this is a very simple thing to earn some points that then end up as an airdrop. So the majority of users on Ton are coming in through these mechanisms that these apps are creating. They haven't been there. They've been, Notcoin was the first one, which was in May this year. They launched when it grew to 30 million users in 3 months. And that was the first example of what we could see was the power of Ton and Telegram's distribution, and the power of growing a mini app inside of Telegram. So that was the first kind of example where everyone saw and everyone was like, wow, this is incredible. Actually, Notcoin dropped 88% or something of their token to the community. So it was a huge amount. At its peak, that was over $2.5 billion So we're talking, one of the biggest airdrops in history, and they dropped it to over 1 million on-chain wallets and 12 million total wallets, so off-chain on exchanges. So that was in one day, or 30 hours. It was Ton onboarded 1 million new people onto the chain because of the Notcoin drop. Then Dogs again was the next one that kind of took it to another level. That was also very successful. 17 million people got that. Again, it was over $1 billion worth of value created out of thin air just by people playing a simple game. And this is the crazy thing. And then, people have continued to kind of copy it, add new innovations to how the tap to earn mechanism exactly works, which hasn't been that successful. I think what people aren't realizing, what Tom projects aren't necessarily realizing, is tap to earn is a launch mechanism. It's not the be all and end all. You're not just trying to get to TGE and then just end the project. A lot of people are taking that route. A lot of projects are, and it's not the best route. It's not a good route at all, because then once TGE happens, everyone just wants to sell the token, and this is what we're kind of seeing with some of the newer ones that have started. Is like the actual utility for the token is actually not clear, and then the community is not actually bought in to whatever that project has going on. With Notcoin, they really created a very strong community around a very cool concept, which was called probably nothing. They had this probably nothing mentality where don't worry about the value. Like, everything that we're doing is like pretty cool, but don't worry, it's not that cool. It's probably going to end in nothing. You're probably not going to get any value out of it. Like, so these guys, they created this kind of mentality in their community, which was like, actually, you know what? We're gonna make Notcoin probably something. It had this kind of like cult-like effect. So that's I think that's where a lot of the users are coming from, is these tap to earn apps. But then there is probably one of the world's first, I would say, really mass audience use cases in Ton and Telegram, and that's with Wallet. So Wallet in Telegram is an independent custodial wallet, but it also has a non-custodial wallet inside of it. And within Wallet, you can actually send USDT, you can send Notcoin, you can send Bitcoin, you can send Toncoin, obviously, as easy as sending a text message. You can literally use the attachments menu in your Telegram and attach $1, $10, $200, $200,000 if you wanted in a DM, and send it to a friend. And this is where I believe like we're doing a real service to crypto, and we're bringing crypto transactions, making them super simple for anyone to use. And there's on ramps in Wallet, and soon there will be off ramps as well. And so you will never even need to use an exchange. You'll just be able to use Telegram to ramp into crypto, start using applications in crypto on Ton, and with bridges that are coming soon as well, you'll be able to take that money off to other chains too, and use it there. So we think that every crypto journey could start on Telegram and end on Telegram, inside of the wallets that we have there.
Because right now, the crypto in Telegram needs to be taken to how do you get to a centralized exchange from Telegram? Like, if you're participating in these tap to earn airdrops, you get tokens. Do you need to then offer them to a centralized exchange? Like, how does that work?
So right now there's the exchange is the only off ramp that's offered at the moment. So you basically just send your crypto from the wallet or any Ton wallet to the exchange and off ramp it that way. So that's if you wanted to take your money out of crypto. Obviously, what we're trying to do is build an ecosystem where Toncoin and all of our ecosystem tokens are accepted everywhere within each of the different applications that have utilities. And that way you wouldn't really necessarily need to take your crypto out, right? You would be able to use it wherever you wanted to use it, for buying a taxi, reserving hotels, doing your shopping, all of these kinds of things that we do every day with our money that then you can start doing with crypto. Because crypto is in the value to that is we're serving the kind of unbanked, right? If I was talking to a friend about this last night, but say you're a homeless person, even in the West, right? You don't have access to a bank account. And so how would you be able to, people set up these GoFundMe pages in order to like fund a homeless person that's got like this great character. We were talking about like a YouTube series that we could potentially create where if you were to give someone a phone with Telegram and a Telegram wallet, you could basically give the address as like a donation address. And then once they do have actual off ramps and maybe even crypto cards in Telegram wallet, you'd then just be able to use that to make payments, and the homeless guy could keep all his money in crypto and never need a bank account, right? So I think these are the kinds of use cases which I'm extremely excited for, and this is where it's heading is the like helping the unbanked, giving them real access to tools that they don't need a mathematics degree to understand. It's simple, seamless user experience that anyone can figure out.
Awesome. Okay. And that leads just nicely to the last question as we wrap up. Where do you see Ton's place in the broader blockchain ecosystem? So we've talked about, Ton being in this like middle ground between fully on-chain, degen, and centralized. It's like Web 2.5. You've also talked about Ton excelling in kind of the mass use cases. So in the future, if everything goes right, years from now, what do those use cases look like? Like what does the kind of user journey of a Telegram or like of a Ton user look like? Is it like just fully in crypto, using like all sorts of applications on Ton, or is it like a mix of them using different blockchains? How do you see that?
I think it looks like a Web3 Super App where you have all of your services, your entertainment needs, your gaming needs, all of your e-commerce desires and needs inside of Telegram. And you have Web3 features added to them. Web3 features, when I say that, it means like ownership. So your users have ownership over your product, either via a token or some kind of governance system, right? They can contribute to the direction of the company. They can contribute to the direction of what's making the company value and its users value. I think ownership is really the core concept of what crypto offers to people. And it's like, with what got me into crypto when I first started out was like I had this experience of buying Bitcoin for the first time, and then it like tripled in price. I was very lucky and bought at actually the perfect time during that March COVID crash. And it tripled in value in a few months. And I was like, this is incredible. I've never owned something digitally before. Digital ownership doesn't really make much sense before you actually experience it. Then once you experience it, then you force yourself down the rabbit hole to learn what this thing is. And you become more used to it. And that's what happened to me with Bitcoin. So I think we need to put crypto in every people's pocket before at the start of using crypto. And then we need to give them ways to use that crypto, like just in ways that they would normally use money. And then we need to introduce more complicated crypto interactions over time. But you need the trust, and you need to actually force yourself to do that bit of self-learning in order to take that next step. So, that's what we're trying to build. Web3 Super App, where all your services, all your entertainment, all your e-commerce is all there, with added Web3 features. You've got ownership over the direction. You've got ownership via a token. You're part of the community that's building this thing. And if we can do that, we hopefully introduce millions, hundreds of millions of people. It's almost 1 billion users in Telegram. If we can do that, we hopefully introduce 1 billion users into the crypto space, and we introduce really the technology of freedom, right? Crypto is really a freedom enabling technology that allows people to take ownership of the direction, that allows people to be self-sovereign. It allows people to hold their assets and move them without any interference from any intermediaries. So this is it allows people to protect their asset value, right? Because they can move their assets between different ones. So and out of inflating fiat currencies. So there's many great reasons to introduce crypto to the world, but it's going to take a fully fleshed out crypto onboarding machine to do it, and that's what I think we're building.
Yeah, it's a great ambitious vision, but I think in your case, in Telegram's case, you have like the right pieces there, and a strength that is very unique. Like so few others have that in like a front end with millions and millions of users that has that reach, but also that to be doing that with an actual decentralized permissionless blockchain, because we've seen kind of attempts of adding crypto to like Web2 mainstream apps, but doing it like not with like actual blockchain rails, and that kind of never works out very well. But I think you're like connecting the pieces in a very smart way, and it's been great to see. Just like very impressive to see your growth in the past few months. So thank you so much for sharing me kind of sharing with me the story behind that growth and your vision for the future. It's been fascinating. Thanks again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Camila. It's been great to be here and really enjoyed having the chat today.